What's up, amigos, and welcome to the newest video on the Constructed Criticism YouTube channel. Today we're doing a deck tech on blue-red Drakes. And it only has 4 Drakes, but it's blue-red Drakes because that name's awesome. I like that hotline bling. But let's talk about the deck real quick. As you can see on screen, it is a blue-red deck. It plays 1 op, 3 Shivan Fires, 1 Shock, 2 Lava Coil, Lightning Strike, 4 Goblin Electromancers, 2 Radical Ideas, 1 Blink of an Eye, 4 Ionize. Love that card. 2 Fiery Fire, 4 Insight, 4 Rekindling Phoenix, 4 Crackling Drake, 2 Expansion Explosion, another card I'm a really big fan of, and 1 Banefire. Speaking of big, that one goes face. So, I should probably talk about this deck a little bit before we go in any further with the deck. So, originally the deck didn't actually have these 4 Rekindling Phoenixes. This is something that Autumn talked about, and I kind of adopted from their strategy. They wanted to try playing this sort of deck with Rekindling Phoenixes and being a little bit more beatdowny. Originally, the deck had a lot more spot removal and ways to interact on the board. You might have noticed I started to mess up things I was saying because I changed the deck to these Rekindling Phoenix. That's what I'm going to be trying today. Basically, the deck's goal is one of kind of 2 plans that's kind of awkward. So first, you're like a tempo-y deck. You have all these cheap answers that you can use to answer your opponent's threats and then ride a threat like a Goblin Electromancer, Crackling Drake, or now Rekindling Phoenix to victory. You can also go long and fight with fire them for 10, Banefire them, explosion them, and kind of turn into like this control-y deck. So your deck does a lot of different things, and you switch up your role a lot depending on your hand and the matchup, which is really fun and really powerful. Another cool thing you get to do is like fight with fire plus expansion. So I've played games against Green Black a lot, where I kind of control the game, 8 drags out for a while, and I fire, hold priority, expansion, kill you. So that's how the deck wins. It's kind of either do these tempo beatdown strategies, or you kind of burn them out as the game goes long. But let's kind of talk about some of the key cards in this deck. So one of the first key cards is Fight with Fire. Originally I had 3 Fight with Fires in the main deck, but I had to make room for Rekindling Phoenix, and I felt like Rekindling Phoenix kind of leans us in a way where we don't need to fight with fire them out of the game as much, more than once. So I cut a Fight with Fire with that. But Fight with Fire is very good in this deck. So it lets you answer the big angels like Lyra, Resplendent Angel, those kind of cards that are normally a problem for this deck, very cleanly, very efficiently. Also, when it's kicked, you can use it as a board clear. One of the things people don't notice is you can divide up the 10 damage. So it's very easy for you to just be like, I'm going to shoot your Jadelight Ranger down, I'm going to shoot your Elf, I'm going to shoot your Vraska, and I'm going to hit you for 1. And then, like, you attack the Vraska, or you attack them, right? Like, it's very easy to clear a board up with Fight with Fire, and it's very potent and powerful. The next most powerful card in the deck is definitely Ionize. Ionize is this insane tempo card that lets us, if we get underneath them with a Goblin Electromancer, we get to hold up Ionize. It's very hard for opponents to win. If we stick a Drake and then hold up Ionize for the rest of the game, it's very hard for your opponents to win normally. Drake clocks your opponent very quickly and very fast. He does not mess around. So having a card like Ionize that chips away at their health a little bit and keeps them from resolving their big spells is a very big deal. And the last best card, like exciting card in the deck, it's kind of a tie between Drake and Explosion. I think Explosion is the more powerful card. The utility that expansion gives you, able to copy a card that costs 4 or less, is huge, very powerful, very versatile in this deck. The Explosion lets you go over the top of other mid-range decks if the game goes long enough. You know, if late game top deck wars, I'm drawing to Explosion and you're drawing to like a Jadelight Ranger, it's very hard to win those kind of matchups. So Expansion Explosion, definitely one of the all-stars of Guild of Ravnica. And Crackling Drake also been surprisingly efficient. The fact that the ETVs draws a card is very nice. It means that when we play it, even if it gets chooped, we're at least moving through our deck. When we play it, if they don't choop and answer it, it's replaced itself already, and now it's starting to hit them. And normally it just takes about 1 Crackling Drake hit to kill your opponent, which is very nice. So let's move on to the sideboard real quick here. We're playing 4 Fiery Cannonades. This is just to answer all the opponents go wide stuff. We have 1 Niv-Mizzet, 1 Ralzeric, 1 Patron Rebuilding. These are all kind of grindy cards that come in certain matchups. Talk about that more in a second. We got 4 Negates, 3 Disdainful Strokes, and 1 Mystic Archaeologist. I think it's reasonable to have the 4th Negate be a Fight with Fire for the matchups we actually want that. I just chose not to do that. I chose to play the extra Negate. I think it's totally fine. I think you can do a lot with this sideboard. I actually added a Stroke recently too, because I was wanting Stroke more than Negate. And then I decided, well, I don't know if I want the Fight with Fire in the sideboard earlier, so I just put the extra Negate back in, where I believe it was an extra Niv a little bit ago. So that gives you a little idea of what it could be. You can do a lot with this deck sideboard. You can even play Search for Azcanta. So keep all that kind of stuff in mind. But this is basically your plan for like mid-range and control decks is you bring in these extra good threats, you bring in these counter spells, take out your kill spells, and boom. Suddenly your opponent is having a very hard time beating you because you don't have really any deck cards in the matchup. You have all these amazing answers and these sticky cards that really take over the game. Patient Rebuilding is one that's very kawaii, super cute, but it does a very good job of forcing your opponent to have Assassin's Trophy in the green-black matchups, and kind of takes over the game. And in the Mirror, which is something that's kind of fallen off a little bit on Moto recently, but was bigger a week ago, it's very good. It's basically unbeatable. Only the one blink of an eye can answer it. So you play it, it mills your opponent out, or you just draw so many cards you can't win. It's very, very good in those kind of matchups. But something that you can easily make another Niv, another Ral. Ral's been interesting. It actually, I found, has been kind of a problem that it doesn't win the game super consistently, and it doesn't take over like I thought it would. But it's been very good at being able to answer big problematic permanents and absorb damage, so I've still liked it, but it hasn't impressed me in the way I was kind of hoping Ral would, and I was pretty high on Ral to begin with. But that does it for the sideboard. We didn't talk about Niv a whole lot, but Niv's basically unbeatable if you're on tap with it. That's kind of the one thing we're saying, is it's very much, it feels like the Scarab God, where you play it and you say check, and if your opponent doesn't answer it, it's mate on your turn. There are so many things your deck can do with Niv-Mizzet that it's insane. So thank you everyone so much for watching. Make sure to go check out the video, and if you saw this half in your patron, go check out the patreon.com to see the other deck tech. See y'all next week.